Welcome to the play-by-play by the Prom Series. I hope you guys had an amazing Christmas and a happy new year, and you're having a great start to 2021. With January rolling around, we have some things to show you. Our next interview is going to be between Sarah and Cab. Sarah's going to interview Cab. So now you know Kittenish gave us these amazing robes for Christmas, and Cab took them to Arizona Helping Hands, and she saw a lot. And they're going to dive into it and have a conversation back and forth. But I am going to make them end the interview, which all interviews are going to end on this question because I think it's really important. Here is the question, and I want you guys to answer it. I want you to hear it below, and I would love to see these answers. What is one of the best compliments that you have ever received? I heard someone a long time ago say that you instantly believe the negative. And normally if someone tells you a compliment, you're supposed to give yourself 15 to 30 seconds to really let it soak in. For me, it's true. If I read something negative, I instantly, or hear something negative, I normally do believe it. And the compliments are always a little bit more difficult to let them really soak in and believe them. I am going to answer that question for you. One of the best compliments that I've ever received was at the Increase Conference. It's a Christian conference here that we are board members a part of, and I'll plug it. So anyways, we were at a board meeting, and in the board meeting, you had to separate and go into like these little mini meetings to talk about different ministries and to give ideas and brainstorm. And so I really wanted to be with Natalie and Mallory with Increase Women because it looked real cool. And the one I had to go to was with coaches and players. It was great. And so I'm there, and at the end, they go, do you have any ideas? And so I gave an idea, and there was a gentleman sitting across from me, he's an older gentleman, and he kind of like perked up and he leaned forward and he was like, hey, that was a really good idea. And I was like, oh, thanks. He's like, no, like, did you just think of that? And I said, yeah. He's like, that was a really good idea. I'm like, oh, awesome. Meeting breaks. I go back and sit next to Daniel. He follows me back to the table and he introduces himself to Daniel and then introduces himself to me, and he looks at me and he says, hey, are you in charge of something? And I said, no, I have a toddler and I follow Daniel around. Not in charge of anything, I guess, just a toddler. And he said, well, you should be. One day you should be in charge of something. And it stuck with me. Was this on my radar? No, I had no idea. I knew that I was drawn to foster care kids then, though, because I don't know what you do if you don't have people on your team. If we're being real honest, when this idea came about after I did the first event in Denver, and I really feel like this was what I wanted to do. I had 6 stadiums lined up for 2021. And if I can tell you the anxiety and anxiousness I had and the overwhelmingness I had to pull off these 6, and dang it, I wanted them to be pulled off well. And I was kind of piecing it together in the start of last year in March. And, but I still was like constantly bubbling. And when I get like that, I retreat and I don't want to do anything, but I knew I had to push forward because I said I was going to do these 6. So I guess what I'm saying, if you don't have a team, I had Cab and Sarah and Mally Story. She helped me a ton. There's a ton of FaceTime calls between the two of us. They came beside me and they just was a simple like, hey, we'll help you out if you want to do this. And then they took different roles and I felt my anxiety just like lift. And this got to be this whole new ideas of Prom Series just kept rolling and going. And it was so easy to step out because I had this team that like I could bounce ideas off of. So that's where I always go with foster care kids because I don't know what I would do if I didn't have a team. So I hope you guys go check out the next interview, all that being said. And I really hope below that you answer, what is one of the best compliments that you received? And even if you don't write it, think about it. Maybe one just popped in, maybe you need a minute to think about it. And I would love to know them. I'm going to ask everybody them because I can't wait. I think it's my favorite question of all time. And with that, I don't know when you're also going to see on here, I don't know when we're going to need a prom dress. And that's okay, because with the ideas flowing, I think I'm going to turn this into an acronym to be able to fill more needs with foster care kids. And I'm going to take you along for this ride. And I hope the next one you'll see. Cab and Sarah interviewing each other, and then editing because Sarah's so good at that. And I hope you guys like it and follow along. Happy 2021.